Hello, my marvellous sausages. I've got about 155 hours into Ark Raiders, and so I've got some really useful advanced tips that's going to really help you out in your Speranza topside journeys. One of the most useful tools in the game is the Snaphook. It's this one here. It's basically a grappling hook. Now, I've been too frightened. I was too frightened to bring them in for ages because I was frightened of losing them. But I have got 3 of them now, so that kind of lessens the worry a little bit. Plus, of course, you can get a blueprint for them as well, which makes it a lot easier when, in regard to losing them. So, what these are good for are, well, it's not just short gaps, really. It's not too bad in its range. So, for example, let me get to somewhere where I can show you how this works. So I'm going to try to get up to there. So what I'm trying to do is just aim at the lip. You aim with L2 or whatever your aim button is on screen, and then you just fire it with the R2 button, and that'll drag you up. Then you can see the further you go, the more that bar decreases. There's an energy bar for it, I suppose you could call it. But it does recharge slowly. Look, you can see it's going back up again. So it's going to stop you from spamming it in battle situations. It is primarily for traversal, although it can be used at a pinch to get things out. Oh, look, I found a weapons crate in here, which is very, very handy. So I have found this really useful for getting up into high, hard-to-reach places and go and have a little look up there, because you do find that sometimes things will spawn in the hard-to-reach places because, well, that is their want. There we are. I got some weapon parts and a Beretta and some light ammo. So this is very, very useful to do, but it can also be used, here we go now, when you're falling to save yourself. Let's see if I can do it here. Let me just jump off and then... it didn't work! The only thing, of course, with using this Snaphook is that you might find yourself getting injured quite a lot. And getting used to the ranges as well. So there we are. I think that was kind of just about on its limit. Now, when the bar goes down, of course, if you're doing a full range, then the bar will deplete to 0. That's what I understand from it, and then you're going to have to wait for it to charge up. It flashes yellow when it's nearing, well, it's when it's in its bottom third, I suppose, really. Now, the Buried City map is a nice place for me to show you these things, because they've got some, well, it's just quieter here for me to use. Now, it still will show you the idea for range. You've got to come up to the Galleria sign to do one of the quests, but there is also a weapon box always up there. Look, there's one always up there. So let's see. I don't know if we can reach it from here. It's quite out of range, look. It doesn't really matter. Maybe I could do it there. No, it's not quite long enough. It doesn't get there. You can see then that the energy bar stays the same because it doesn't connect, look. So what we need to do is get a little bit closer. So let me just jump up on here and see if we can shoot at maybe one of the railings of the lips then. Let's see what happens. There we are, that's grabbed it, and up we go, and he hooks on. So, you can see there, it's used half its oomph to get up here. And there we are, we've got a nice little weapons crate up here as well. So that's always a nice place to come past if you want to grab some stuff. But yes, it is very, very useful. Oh dear! But also, we could, I suppose, use it to get back down again without being damaged. Let's test that theory out. Let's wait for these idiots to go first. I suppose what we're looking for is to get back down to where we came from. Let's see if that works. Oh dear! I should have done it from the gap. Hang on a minute. Nice view of the Buried City Bastion there. It's always in. Oh, look at him there. He's right in trouble there. Hey, this is a nice viewpoint for getting an overview of the map and seeing who's in the stuck. Ha! You can't shoot it when it's flashing yellow as well, by the way, it seems. It's got to be white before you can actually let one go. There we go. Let's try there now. No, it doesn't work. Maybe... no, I just can't make that work. Let me know in the comments if you manage to break a fall using the grappling hook, because I keep on breaking my face. Ha! I'm sure it can work, but there must be a knack to it, and I'm not very good at it. Now, I have seen loads of videos of people using it to get onto vehicles. Let's try this wasp. Missed. Oh, I'm on him! I'm on him! I'm on him! Hit him! Hit him with your thing! Oh dear! Oof! Well, you know, you can see that it does work. I'm just not skilled whatsoever and cheese them both right off! I love this game. Anyway, just for traversal purposes, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, I'm rubbish at using it, but I bet there's you're very clever folk. Oh no, shh! And don't show other people that you've been using it, or they may try and kill you for it. Do you know what I mean? So, keep it stum! Stum! And you don't have to just go up with it, you can go along with it as well to There you are. So, so it pulls you over like short horizontal axes. There we are. Good word. To get you out of trub. So it can be very, very useful, but primarily it's great for getting into those hidey places. Right, enough about the Snaphook. Here's a tip for you. When you're leaving on a train or anything like that, and you've got a raider here like this, and you don't know who they are, I'd advise don't tappity-tap the computer yourself. Let them do it. Because amount of times I've tappity-tapped the computer and some git has come up and smashed my face in, shot me and nicked all my stuff. So if you let them do it, then you know that you're going to be alright. They haven't got time to shoot you then once they've flicked the switch. So always let the other person flick the switch. And if they don't flick it, either they're complete gits or they're incredibly cautious like yourself. So I don't know, you're just going to spend the rest of your life on that train. Now shields are quite a complicated business in Arc Raiders. You've got three types. You've got your light shield, you've got your medium shield, and you've got your heavy shield. But which one do you use? Because each one is really suited for, well, certain tasks. But in general, is it worth considering how much they take to build, how much they take to repair, and what sort of buffs and debuffs they have on you. So for example, the light shield, it gives 40% damage reduction. Medium gives 42.5% damage reduction. So that difference isn't that great, okay? So, and in comparison, the light shield is only 2 arc alloy and 4 plastic parts to craft, whereas the medium shield is 1 of the arc circuitry and 4 of the battery, so it's considerably more to craft. And if you really think that's worth it for the extra 2.5%, I'm not entirely convinced. Plus there's a 5% reduced movement speed on the medium shield, so there's a trade-off there that you really need to consider. I mean, it's quite negligible, 5% reduced movement speed, because if you go and have a look at the heavy shield, now this baby, it's got 15% reduced movement speed, but it's got a damage reduction of 52.5%, so it's kind of halving the incoming damage that you're getting. Now that is far more acceptable to me, and getting that amount of damage reduction as opposed to just the extra 2.5% on the medium shield. But then you've got the mobility issue to consider as well. Do you know what I mean? But if you go and have a little look at your skill tree, we've got this, used to the weight. Used to the weight. Wearing a shield doesn't slow you down as much. Now you can upgrade that 5 times, so that does reduce the deficit that the heavy shield will put on you. So if you're using a heavy shield, you can really get pretty tanky with this, and then you can also use this to speed yourself up a little bit. Then, of course, there's the cost then of crafting them all. Heavy shield being the most expensive in regard to resources. You've got power rods there and voltage converters. I'm just going to build myself one of those. And then for the medium shield, it's 1 arc circuitry and 4 batteries. And light shield is 2 arc alloy and 4 plastic parts like we looked at before. But then, looking at the repairing, with the light shield, the cost to repair is, well, it's 4 plastic parts there, and that's going to practically repair it up. And then another 4 will it take to the 100. So it does it in blocks when you do the repairing. Remember, it doesn't repair it all the way full. It'll do it a set amount for the 4 parts. So I kind of wasted some parts there, but there we go. You can't help that. Then with the medium shield there, was this one got a bit of durability issue on it. If I got to repair for this one, and this is arc circuitry and battery. Remember, so it's 1 arc circuitry to build it, and was it 3 arc batteries to build it as well. So is it worth repairing this? I don't think it is. I don't think it's worth repairing it. I think you're better off just dismantling it and then building a new one, which is exactly what I'm going to do. I could sell it, of course, but if I recycle it, at least I'm going to get 1 arc circuitry back. Do you know what I mean? To put back into the pool to build it back up again. And then with the heavy shield, well, I mean, I don't think it's worth taking that in with you with every run, because depending on what runs you're going to go in and do, it dictates your loadout. Sometimes when I get killed 2 or 3 times in a row and I get totally cheesed off with it all, I'll just jump in with a free loadout and go and do some looting, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? And I'll go in with the bare bones. But if you're going to go in with something in mind, whether it be using one of your keys perhaps to go to one of the locked areas, then your best bet then is to go in with some kind of augment that's got a safe pocket, and then you're going to decide whether or not you're going to go in for battle. Do you know what I mean? I still find a light shield is pretty good on that because you want to be doing the dodging. Now, when you're doing the stuff when you need to take down heavy arc, so for example, you want to do the trials this week, you've got to damage some leapers, you've got to damage the queens, the matriarchs, the flying arc enemies, curse those rocketeers. You're probably better off, if you can do it, going in with the heavy shield. And also with one of my other points, a Hullcracker. Because by doing that, you're going to sort of give yourself the best chance of survival. But as far as I'm concerned, whenever you do attack any of these heavy arc, you do not want to do any of it out in the open. You want to have some cover nearby before you instigate a fight. So you're going to have a little doorway or a little block building somewhere where you can go in, nip out, shoot, bang, bang, and then close the door, reload, pop your head back out again, bang, bang, and do it like that. Never stand toe-to-toe with any of these big boys. They will absolutely murder you in an instant. So for my advice, I use the light shield. Basically 80% of the time. For sometimes I'll take in a medium shield and I don't particularly know why, because they're pretty, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. And then the heavy shield, of course, is good for when I'm going in to kick some bottom. When you're breaching doors, it can be really difficult sometimes to see if anything's going to be sneaking up behind you. Now, when you come in to do a breach, you tend to stand in the center to breach it. And when you do that, then your camera is restricted by how far you can look. Like, it kind of can only go to the walls there, okay? But what you can do is, if you want to breach a door, I've got another door to breach over here. I'm just showing you using this as an example. If you come here to this, and then you can breach at the far end, like this, then you will then have more room to be able to look right behind you, look. So you can spin the camera around, and it'll give you a good idea of where you can look. Now, of course, depending on which end of the door you do it, is dependent on how far you can spin around. But if you're in a corner, you want to go to the closest one to the corner, and then you'll be able to spin around and look and see what's there. So that's really handy way of keeping an eye on your back when you're breaching the doors before you go in and have a loot party. One of the first workstations you should be looking to upgrade to level 3 is the refiner. And the reason is, of course, is that you can be constructing loads of base, well, sort of uncommon and rare materials that you're going to be able to combine and that you're going to use then to upgrade your weapons, repair your weapons. And I constantly find myself coming in here to this for the mechanical components, which are basically using practically everything that I use at the moment. And then as you go up to the rarer weapons, you're going to be needing to use arc circuitry and in the medium shield as well that we just recently talked about. So you can make these in here instead of having to go and scavenge for them, which can save you a lot of time. All you need is 8 arc alloy to create them. So that's pretty easy to come by. That's much better than going to, like I say, go and try and find them in loads of cupboards. And then you've got the advanced mechanical components. Now springs start becoming a little bit thin on the ground when you start crafting the advanced mechanical components, but you need these for upgrading a lot of the weapons. So I'm going to upgrade my anvil here for you, because I love an anvil. I think it's absolutely excellent. So let me go and upgrade this. So you can see here I need the mechanical components. Straight back to the refiner and mechanical components. Get as many of those as I can at the moment. Let's just try 6. Then I can upgrade that. Excellent. And then we've got mechanical components again and heavy gun parts. Excellent. And then I need mechanical components again to get the 4th upgrade. But once you start going to the blue weapons, like, for example, the Torrent here, if I went to upgrade that, I need advanced mechanical components to do that. And advanced mechanical components require you to have the normal mechanical components, these ones here. So this refiner really does lead on, not forgetting, of course, you've got the light gun parts and the medium gun parts as well. But don't forget, it's not just for your weapons. You can use materials here to create stuff for your healing. And one of the most important things, or two of the most important things here, are for the durable cloth, which requires fabric to make, and also the antiseptic as well, because you need those to pop to your medical lab here, and you need those, look, to create the sterilized bandages. So it's excellent for saving you a lot of hunting time out in the real world. You can actually look for more base components, and then you can create them and change them into these more advanced components and then build the more rare items by using this refiner. So I would really recommend you get this upgraded to level 3 as soon as you can. Another thing that's quite interesting here are these power rods. Now the power rods, they do have various uses. One of the main ones being they can be used to construct the Snaphook. There it is. I don't actually have the blueprint for that yet, unfortunately, but when you do look at them and by recycling them, look, you can see they can break down into power rods. But the power rods are also keys. They can be used in certain locked doors. Particularly, there's one in the damn battlegrounds that I always go to and use a power rod to unlock there, because there usually is some decent gear there as well. So these serve two purposes. It was quite cool to be able to craft these power rods, because they're very, very useful. Let me know in the comments of any other doors that are locked with power rods, because I'm looking to make a video on that, and it would be great. I like it when this community comes together and we all create the videos from all of our knowledge. Yes, lovely. And if you want to know where that power rod room is, it's here on the damn battlegrounds. It's the power generation complex, and you come in this area here, and it's around this area here. Once you there's a zip line or a set of stairs behind each of these, and that'll bring you into this doorway here, and then you can go through it, and the locked doorway will be in here. So have a squiz around there and you will find it, no worries. Now, free loadouts are a fantastic thing, and they're not something that you should sleep on. Firstly, because they're really lumpy and hard and you won't get a good night's sleep on them. But secondly, if you have loads of bad runs in a row, which happens quite a lot with me, what I tend to do then is grab a free loadout, exactly what I've done here, look, and then I've come here to, for example, to do a loot run without any stress about losing any gear. So I come here to my favourite little 5-minute loot run in the buried city. I've done a complete video on this. I'll leave a link to it at the end, and then I fill up with loads of goodies without the stress of losing anything. So I've just done a mildly successful junk run there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue. Then I'm going to unload all the stuff from my backpack that's sellable or general goodies there, like this. But what I'm going to do as well, though, is I'm going to leave in all the grenades and the other kind of stuff that I want to take in for the next run. So I've got 5 bandages there. I got 2 shield recharges, which quite frankly is probably going to be enough. I'm not going to stick in another weapon. I got 80 shots in my Pharaoh there. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take this free loadout out now, and then I'm going to go to the traders. I'm going to go and see Lance, and then I'm going to trade my my free augment there for one of the looting Mark 1s. So let's go and do that. And then I can go back to my loadout, and I can pop the augment in that I just bought. I got 2 of them there, look. I can pop that in that I just bought, and then what I've got, look, is I've got a free pocket there, and it hasn't cost me anything at all to get that, and then I'm going to build on this the next time I do it. So I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to do the same free run again, which is in the buried city, and I'm going to take this loadout in, and then see how we do. So I'm basically trying not to tap into any of my previous stuff at all, and just use all the stuff that's generated from the free loader that I do. Now, of course, you could get killed as you're doing this because you don't have that much in the way of protection, but sneaking your way around, it's perfectly manageable. I've done it quite a bit. So yes, if you're finding yourself low on resources, low on morale, go and do this. It'll be a big help for you. So this is my second run from using the free loadout, and as you can see, I'm absolutely loaded from it. I've got loads of stuff from it. So that hasn't cost me anything. I wasn't killed, of course, but I didn't take any risks by going in. And by swapping out that loadout for the free one, you didn't make any dent in your goodies. Look at it all. So yeah, the Buried City is a great place to go. I think I'm going to do a more in-depth actual loot run on that one, because it's really, really good. But yes, that's all from a free loadout. So, you know, don't sleep on it. I made 50 grand on that run. Thanks very much. When you're using a zip line, you can get on and off when you want just by sort of interacting with it. So if you don't want to go to the top, so I don't want to go all the way to the top, you maybe just want to get off on that floor there, I can just jump, look, and I can mantle up there. Hello? That was not a clever idea, was it? Let's just go back down here. But you see what I'm saying? They're very useful to use, very handy to use. And also, when you do get on them, you can indicate which direction you want to go, whether you want to go up or down. There you are. That did him there. So, for example, if I wanted to get on this zip line now and I wanted to go down, just make sure you're looking down when you get on it, and you'll go down. Then if I wanted to go upwards, you just need to look up and use the zip line, and then you'll go up, provided there is place for you to go. Do you know what I mean? So the zip lines are entirely controllable. Let's go down again. Let's jump off. Excellent, handy little tip that on the old zip lines. Now you can also alter the direction of travel when you're using a zip line. So if I just jump up this on here, okay, I turn around, and then I jump, and then I rehold it again, I'll go back down the other way, look. So you can change the way you're going along a zipline. If you find yourself heading towards a bastion or something, you think, oh no, I don't want to do that. So we're traveling up here. I just spin the camera around, do a jump, and then fall back on it and rehook and go back down the other way. So it's just a matter of getting used to tapping the buttons. So yeah, so what is it again? So I'll turn around and we'll jump and try a square rather for me to hold the zip line and then back down the other way. So yes, zip lines are your friends. Oh, I did it wrong? Now, if you haven't looked at trials yet, I really suggest that you do, because they're a great way to get blueprints and epic loot. You can see we've got 3 levels there. We got the uncommon, we got the rare, and we got the epic, depending on how many points you score in a round. So you need to get 4,000 points as generally the amount to be able to get that epic reward. The rest of it is a vanity exercise, really, in getting up the leaderboard. I'm terrible at the moment. I'm on 64. So yeah, so this is a great way to get epic gear, and of course the common and the uncommon and the rare as well. So I really would recommend doing these every week, because if you've kind of gotten quite up in rank, and it gives you something to do as well, and they really are very rewarding. And of course, there's certain map conditions that really help you out in getting these done a lot quicker, because, for example, damaging the leapers there, if I went to do that on a normal map condition, and when I say normal map condition, I mean when you just pile into the map normally, you know, the spaceport, the buried city, or whatever, I would have gotten half the points that I got getting that. I got 6,800 or something there, and I got that during a night raid, I believe it was, on the damn battlegrounds, or it might have been an electromagnetic storm, because they're 2 times the points. So that's the best place to go and do all of these things, because you're going to get them done in half the time. And if you're looking to really rack the points up, that's where you can get those done as well. The smaller map conditions you can see here, like Husk Graveyard, doesn't make any difference to the actual point gains, although they may make a difference in the amount of things that you find in there. So for example, this week we've got to collect mushrooms, so if you want to go to where we've got a lush blooms, you're going to find more lush blooms, but it's still better to go into a night raid and go to a normal map. What I found this week was when I went to the spaceport map there, and I see the trencher that goes down in between the 2 towers. That was absolutely flush with the Great Mullein plant, or the Mullein plant, or whatever you want to call it. By picking that, I had to pick, I believe it was 10 of those, and then I had the weekly triumph done, or trial done. So it is much better to go into a double map condition to do this. And it was a night raid version of the spaceport map I did, not the normal one, to get that harvesting one done. I tell you, another good one to do as well is Hidden Bunker, because you're going to find, right, that's 2 times as well. So anything you do on that map will be 2 times the points. But all the folk are going to be off doing the mission there, which is activating the antennas and trying to find the bunker. So it's pretty good to jump in here and do some farming for points or for whatever it is that you want. Because remember, in all of these conditions as well, loot is always boosted too. So this particular one, the Hidden Bunker, that actually lasts for 40 minutes. You've got a longer time on the map. You've got a better chance at finding things, because all the other players will be off trying to do the antenna. Not all, but you know what I mean. There's a different focus on that map. So don't forget that the Hidden Bunker one is a particularly good one to do, because you've got an extra amount of time to do it. But just see how you go. That one is very good. They open up on your level 15, so it doesn't take too long before you can have access to them. And then this then in turn relates to the ranks. So you get your points, which puts you up on the leaderboard, and then that pushes up your ranks. And then at the end of the season, you can see our season ends in 27 days, you can claim the rewards from the one you get up to, because you can see each one is kind of an iteration on top of the next. So for example, we've got there bow and arrow, mastery medal, briefcase, archaeologist, black eye, happy jig, and then Daredevil 1, it adds the headgear patrol variant to it. So it just adds them all the way up as we go until we get to the end. Hotshot is the top of the tree. If you get a certain amount of points, you'll get up to Hotshot, but Cantina Legend is only available to people who are actually in the top 100. So I did kind of say it is prestigious. I think it will be prestigious, but of course it's to do with how much time you probably put into it, and skill I think has a big part in that as well, and determination and tenacity. So anyway, there we go. I do think that the trials is a great thing to do. Now, when you get to level 20, I really recommend you go and start buying Hullcrackers from Tianwen in the gun shop. Now, they're 30 grand each, and you can only buy one a day, okay? Because limited stock, 1 out of 1, you can say I've got 13 hours left. So I'm going to purchase this because these really are your key to killing the more powerful Ark. And I found the game opened and changed completely for me when I had the balls to go and buy one of these for 30 grand and go in and start shooting a few leapers and destroying them relatively quickly. That goes for the bastions and the bombardiers as well. And then that means, of course, that you can start getting better points on your trial scorecard so you can guarantee yourself some epic loot too. Plus, as well, don't forget, killing bombardiers, killing bastions, killing rocketeers and leapers are all needed to upgrade your workshop benches to level 3, because you might find you haven't got quite a few of them up to level 3 yet. So this Hullcracker is your key to getting it, so don't be afraid to get in there and using it. It's excellent. I tell you what, though, the pain at losing it is incredibly annoying, but don't let that put you off. 30 grand you can get easily from doing one of the buried city runs that I've shown you earlier on. You can see I'm pulling in 50 grand there from doing the Grandioso apartments. So it was really, really well worth your time spending that. And then, of course, once you get the blueprint, which I don't have yet, you can start making them whenever you want. And I would recommend, even if you've already got a Hullcracker, and come into the shop when it resets and buy another one, just so you've got that one there in stock, just in case you're caught short and you need to use one for a bit of kick-ins. So there we go, get yourself a Hullcracker, they're brilliant fun. And don't forget, when you do buy it, don't forget to come and buy the ammo as well, or it's completely useless. It's 6 grand for 10 rockets, and if you're going in with a mind to, like, kick in a lot of big ones, I'd buy quite a few of these if I were you, really. Like buy 40 or 50 or spend the same amount on ammo as you did on your Hullcracker, and you'll be good. Don't forget, your melee axe is very handy for killing these little turds. There we are, yes, because they tend to jump at you and get quite close range, and you can somewhat use up loads of your ammo trying to shoot at them while they scuttle off into the darkness. So it's quite nice to have this as a weapon of choice for killing the ticks. I'm sure there's another one around here, but I can't see him. It's thunder and lightning out there, it's very loud. Now, blueprints are one of the most important things for me to get here in Ark Raiders. You can see I've got 27 so far out of 74, and I've been playing for quite a while, so it's going to take a while to get them all. Now then, there are certain places where you can get guaranteed blueprints. They're not guaranteed to drop every time, but they're the drop source, and that's the Jupiter and the Equalizer. They're both the legendary weapons. The Jupiter's a railgun, and the Equalizer is an energy gun, an energy weapon using one of the energy clips. Well, anyway, you can get those from doing the Harvester event and solving the puzzle in there, and it comes from the central console there, you know, when you put the 3 canisters in. That can be your reward for doing that, but it doesn't drop every time. The rest of the time, it's going to be up to Lady Luck whether or not you get any blueprints, but there is a way to sort of skew it in your favor so you do get more. Now, I've seen loads of videos about there being certain types of containers that drop certain type of blueprints more regularly than others. However, I don't really know if that's true, but one thing I have found in common is that the blueprints do tend to drop with more frequency from things like night raids, because it does say that, you know, there's more goodies. There are raiders have been finding especially good loot behind the locked doors. So anywhere where there's a locked door or a breach door or a key card, you get a better chance again for getting a blueprint, and then if it's in a night raid, you get another better chance on top of that. So that's probably your best bet for hunting for blueprints. But remember as well, it's the density of, well, I suppose you could call them containers, that's important. So, for example, in the buried city here, if you come here to the Grandioso apartments, loads of people are seeing that they're getting loads of blueprints from them. Well, that's probably because there's so many things for you to search. Do you know what I mean? If you've got the buried, the town hall key here for the buried city, there's loads of opportunity and loads of containers in there to get blueprints, and in a night raid it goes up again. So that is what you really want to be targeting, really. Night raids and then some of these higher spec areas. But the worst thing about them, of course, is that it's usually full of PvPers who want to blow your brains out and nick your stuff. And the worst thing about doing a night raid is you can't bring in a raider loot hatch key thing and leave, because there's no raider hatches in a night raid, which is a bit irritating. So you do have to be wary and be prepared for a bit of a PvP camping going on. But yes, it's all down to density of the containers and the kind of 2 times event that you're doing. And I really do believe that night raids are very good. I do also think that the electromagnetic storm actually actually, that's one of the newer events that's popped up. I found that very good for getting blueprints. The only problem with that is, of course, if you get dropped in and there's only 20 minutes to go, you tend to find all of the places that have the blueprints tend to have gone already. So, example, a good place to look if you come into the damn battlegrounds and you come here to the up here, we've got the what do they call them, the Ruby Residence and the Pale Apartments. Loads of containers in both of these. A good chance of finding something in there. Loads of people finding wolf pack rounds and all that kind of thing. But I don't think it's specific to being up here. I just think it's specific to the event that you use and the amount of things that become available. Because you know what it's like sometimes. You go in and you can see a chest of drawers and they're all completely empty. And you think, oh, bugger. But sometimes you can go in and there's 4 drawers there or 5 drawers there. I find that in the buried city here, if I come to the Grandioso and I also come over to this little building here, there's a good chance of me getting blueprints there. It's not guaranteed every time, but you will get a lot more during those events. So bear that in mind. It's not necessarily the type of a container, but it's more the type of event that you go into. And don't forget to drop any interesting locations in the chat, particularly if there's any more of those power rod rooms, as I'd love to find more of those. And if you want to see more Arc Raiders content, don't forget to give me a subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I'm putting them out pretty regularly. I'm live streaming it as well. I do plenty of shorts. I've got guides. I've got amusing moments. And I've got the weekly reset and the news for Arc Raiders as well. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching, and I shall speak to you all again very soon. Sausage, hurt.